Okay, what? Okay, I go there. Mm, 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 mm. Like, like you. Mm. Hey
Hello,
there.
how are you?
Oh, good. We're the early birds.
It looks like it.
Or Chris set it up and walked off.
No, I doubt,
Oh,
I doubt that. He's been busy sending emails out, so I'm pretty sure that he's
somewhere
sitting.
around.
So how are you doing?
Good, good. We've been
Lots of trick-or-treaters?
we had some last night. Yeah.
We didn't get one. Usually I get a
Well,
handful. But
well, we live in a little neighborhood that doesn't have a lot of kids. So you know, I think some of the neighbors would go out of the way to say, now make sure your kids show up. We're gonna have a lot of candy left over.
Yeah, I have a lot of candy left over and I brought it to work to feed all of the people that walk in the door.
Well, good. It's like David is trying to be there.
Yeah, it looks like it.
And we've got a John Callahan all sworn in and legal and
Oh, nice.
yeah.
That was one of the things that I just got in an email from Chris was his onboarding paperwork.
I guess we'll need to do like a John C or a John M when we're talking about John.
Oh, that's right. I didn't even think about that. Let's see here. I think we're about done with the budget almost. We're just waiting on the county for one thing. They're taking a little bit more detailed look into the IDD approval before they, as far as the 1% is concerned.
Yeah. I think early on, one thing I heard about budgets, they're not something to be cast in stone or concrete. They're more of
Yeah,
a goal or a target or just letting the world know that this is what we want to do.
a
This is
guideline.
where, yeah, a guideline. So if it's off by a penny here and there, no big deal.
Yeah, and it's also been nice not to have to do any major adjustments throughout the year, so that's
Yeah.
helpful.
Oh, there's Marissa. What is- Let's see. Dare I click on that? Probably not. Oop, I shouldn't have done that. Well, poop.
What's wrong?
Well, it had a little white pop-up in the corner and, it says Zoom meeting, it had like minimize. And I wanted to get a little white pop-up to go away and it got rid of Commissioners. I'm going to repeat myself. I'm going to call the Port of Coupeville special meeting and hearing of the Board of Commissioners to order on Tuesday, November the 1st, 2022 at 6 p.m. And the first order of business is going to be the Pledge of Allegiance. So if everybody will face their flag, and I pledge allegiance
to the flag
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it
for which it
stands,
stands,
one
one
nation,
nation, under God,
indivisible, with
with
liberty and
liberty and
justice
justice for all. Okay. Next item on the agenda is our roll call. David, are you there?
My name is David Day, and I'm the Commissioner for District 1, and yes, I'm here.
And John Callahan.
My name is John Callahan, and I'm the Commissioner for District 3, and I'm here.
All right. And John Mashasik, District 2 Port Commissioner, is here. So we also have some staff and accountant and one person in the public attending the meeting. So are there any changes to the agenda required?
Just for a point of order, on a special meeting, there can be no changes to the agenda.
Oh, okay. Good deal. Item 5, community input. So Chris, if you want to look for anyone in the public wanting to make comment at this time?
We have Loretta joining us. Give her a second if she wants to chime in. If not, then we'd have no public comment for the first session.
She's still showing as muted.
Okay, I would move on.
Okay. Item 6 is old business. The first 6.1 discussion is 2023 preliminary draft budget discussion. So we spent time last week going through and last changes.
Last 2 meetings.
There's 2 meetings, yeah.
So all the feedback and changes have been made, as well as corrections. The one thing, and Don, maybe you can speak to this, is we still have not inputted the 1%, which we do every year because we don't bank the 1%. So that'll be added to this, right, Don?
Yeah, that should be added to that as soon as the assessor's office, they wanted to meet, but they couldn't meet due to scheduling of their schedules until Wednesday. So I won't have a definite approval until after Wednesday.
And so once that 1% figure is in, it'll be plugged into this final draft version, as well as we will get to 296 later, but we can jump to it. I don't know if, can you see that?
There you go.
Did it jump to 296?
So with that $4,242.15 get added in somewhere on our draft budget, where would that go?
It'd go
Or is
on
that
the
already?
It would get added onto the income line item for the port, and then it would be offset by a CRNM.
Okay.
So probably the property tax levy line, right, Don?
So
Under port income.
yeah,
page 4.
the IDD capital project levy would be
Well, that's the IDD. And then the 1%, would that be under property taxes levy?
That's where it should go.
That's where it should go, right?
oh, okay. So well, the 1% earned off of the IDD.
No, the 1%. That
No,
we
that's
make it.
already approved. The property taxes, the regular property tax levy is already approved. That's why I did the resolution for the 296.
Okay, so that all has been added in here then.
Once the IDD cap province levy has been approved, then I will do another resolution for that dollar amount. Because I have to do the dollar amount for the request every year, even though it's based on the same property value.
The IDD doesn't get a 1% bump.
Yeah, I really don't know. There's been some back and forth on that, and they are understanding that it's on the valuation of the 21 property taxes, but they feel that we should still get an increased 1% every year. Based.
Wow, that'd be news to me.
Yeah,
That's not the way that I've read it.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. So they're still trying to meet on this and
yeah.
determine. Okay, that doesn't seem right, but
So this
There's
would be
been
the,
some argument back and forth, and
Even if they approve it, we don't have to accept it. And that's not what was advertised under the IDD. What was advertised under the IDD was that rate would stay the same based on the valuation of the first year of the IDD.
with no increases.
right.
And that's what I have right here. I have the 1380, which would still be a resolution. It would just be without the 1%. When we do the property value request, they always request that I increase it by about 5,000 to 6,000 just for wiggle room, which is what we did when we did the initial. So.
Well, even like I have resolution 294, which is the IDD resolution that's already been written.
Yeah.
And again, it's being assumed that the board is going to approve the 45 cents per thousand.
Yeah.
And in working with Holly, our attorney, there is no verbiage in here for a 1%. So it's just, in fact, there's not even a final number. It's just basically saying the 45. Can you guys see my screen? Does it show?
Yep.
Did it
Yeah.
switch
Yep.
over? Okay, thank you. I have highlighted here. It just shows the 45 cents per thousand.
Yeah.
So it doesn't
And
have an
according-
increase.
It says
According-
utilizing the 2021 base year.
Yes.
Right.
And according to their office, the agreed upon amount of 45 per 1,000 is different, I guess, than the annual increase of 1% that we're allowed to. So,
But I don't think we're allowed to take 1% on an IDD is the point.
well, that's how I did my proposal to them. I did it without a 1%. I did it the same.
On the IDD?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I thought you didn't put the 1% in the regular budget levy. So I misunderstood. Sorry about that.
No.
Okay, so then 296 that you just sent, there's the 1% right there, right?
And when I do this resolution for the IDD, it will have everything except for that line item filled out.
Okay. Do you need, so you do a separate resolution, you'll do a 297?
Yeah, I
like
have.
with this form?
Yeah.
So, okay, got it.
So your resolution is just the agreement of the 45 cents. This is the agreement that this is, if we don't have this resolution, then we don't get to collect it.
Got it, okay. So that'll be resolution 297.
Okay, I'll make a note of that.
Yeah, okay.
I don't
so we want
remember,
to,
I don't remember doing an ordinance resolution for the IDD last year.
We didn't.
We didn't have to, because it was the first time.
I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I questioned that too with her. And she said, because it was the first time and the IDD was voted in and approved by the public, I didn't have to do it, but I would have to year following years.
Okay.
I think we want to have close communications with the people collecting the taxes so the tax bills don't go out. incorrect for the port about the IDD, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
You know, that the IDD, that's the first time this has been used in Island County. And
That's true.
yeah.
and so
We just have
there's
to make
probably a
sure.
lot of there's potential for confusion at the with the people collecting or putting out the bills for the property tax, thinking, well, it's a port levy. Let's, don't they normally put a 1%, bump on it? But we need to let them know this is a different animal.
And that's how I proposed it to them, but they're going to go over it to make sure that they are comfortable with what I did.
Yeah.
Well, John brings up a very good and relevant point in that this is not a normal situation for any county, and they may want to apply their normal procedure to it. And because that's not allowable, we need to make sure that the number, I mean, basically what we're asking for is exactly what we asked for last year. Based on that value of property. And they need to understand that as well. There's not a 1%, there's not an increased valuation of property based on assessments. We're working off the 2021 numbers.
Yeah, and last year it was so new that they actually inflated the
Right.
due to the fact that the last quarter of that particular year, housing market values were skyrocketing. So,
Yeah.
So David,
Yes,
what's your understanding of somebody has some vacant land? It had a assessed value, the property tax was collected in 2021. 2022, a home gets built on that home, on that piece of property. What's the taxable assessed value on that parcel going to be?
that's
The
a
home
really good
value
question,
added
and
or
I
not?
don't have the answer to that. The answer to that would have to come from an attorney, from my perspective. I don't have the answer to that. And
Okay.
it's a very good
I'm-
question, John, because I'm sure
But I'm
that's happened.
Yeah, it's bound to have happened somewhere where the IDD, that might be worth, a quick and dirty answer would be to go to the Port Townsend people that have been using the IDD for a number of years, are actually doing their second one. So, and see what happened on all the properties that did have some new home built on the vacant lot.
But I don't
Just
think it
see-
matters because it's all based on 1 year.
Yeah, and my guess is that that's correct, Chris, but I don't know if that's true. If there was a structure added, but I think that's a really good question. My guess would be that we can only work from what was available in 2021.
Right. And when I was working with the county along with Don, I was the one who suggested they contact the Port of Port Townsend and speak with them. And I believe they did because they were struggling on how to approach it. So I was explaining they still had to look at 2022 home values or something. And it was explained to me over the phone. And at one point, I think I understood it, but I didn't agree. Because I thought I was pretty clear. We are going to launch this in 2022. It is based off the 2021 home values, and that's it. It's set in stone.
That's
You get
that's
the same
what I
amount every
understand.
single year. You know,
See, your language there got a little sloppy, Chris. It's
All right,
not home values, it's property value. It could be a piece of
Okay.
land, so it's property values, not home values.
well, okay, you're right. It does say property taxes on the top of the, yeah.
So I think that's certainly worth investigating, but I think Chris's basic assessment is correct. Because according to the rules of the IDD, we can only tax people based on the values of 2021.
Yeah, and that's what on the form, when I did the tax evaluation worksheet, I used 2021's property value. And I did absolutely no 1% increase. I did not use the valuation that they gave me for this year.
Okay.
So
Kind of
So-
a worst case scenario might be that somebody at the county doesn't still understand this. And they somehow
Yeah.
send out tax bills with a higher amount than allowed by the IDD relative to the port. And they're going to have to write a lot of checks back to those property owners that shouldn't have paid that increase, any kind of increase.
Yeah, as well as the port possibly receiving more funds than it's deserved.
Right.
So,
along
And it
with,
has basically,
along with either the county or the port being sued for the difference.
yeah, it has to be capped at that valuation. The same valuation as 2021.
yeah. So, and we go off the value of 2021, but what have we actually received in 2022? Because we have to turn this in by November 24th, right, Don? Or November 28th? We have to submit the short form budget, all our resolutions, everything as a packet. So we never had a chance to go through an entire year
No.
to get our tax revenue for the IDD.
Well, but that's irrelevant. What's relevant is the rate and the
And the
property
value.
values within the
Yeah.
district.
Yeah, I just thought it'd be nice to have.
Because not everybody's going to pay their taxes either.
Right. I just thought it'd be nice to have an actual number to work off of. You know,
Yeah. That's
depending on
the,
what we should receive, what we actually receive are two different things. So it'd just be nice to know what we actually receive.
well, I think it'd be interesting to see what the calculation is that they use in order to do this, because I mean, that means that in their formula, they have to make sure that they cap it at each property's address at the same level for 2021 in their formulas. Whereas everything else is going to be that they're doing their formulas for is going to be based off of the 2022. So it'll be one formula that's different from all the others. So it'll be interesting to see what they say.
Yeah. Okay. So did the board have any other comments or feedback on the 2023 budget?
I have one question, Chris, and I should have asked it before. I'm not familiar with what E101 is in terms of the farm rents. What space is E101?
Look,
On page 2,
Yeah, looking at it right here, page 2, right under CC Cottage.
what space is
E101.
E101?
You got A, you got B, you got C 101, 102, 103.
Is it a little office next to the Jim Davis house, attached to the Jim Davis house?
Yeah, but oh, yeah. Yeah, Studio G people, yes, that would be, yes. Because that's at like 500 and change a month. So that would be a little over $6,000. That's what that is.
So that's next to your office?
Yeah, that's that little meeting space I opened up for
Okay.
Molly,
Okay,
the counselor.
okay.
Yeah, good question. Don, I noticed too, I don't know if this is normal or not, but there's CC Cottage here on this line. And then I come down and there's CC Cottage again.
that's the utilities.
Oh, that's utilities?
Yeah.
Oh, missed it up there. Okay, perfect. Okay,
I've got a couple of questions if you don't mind.
Sure.
Page 5 of the budget, I'm looking at the wharf utilities. And this is the revenue budget. And I'm looking at W101, which indicates at the end of the year projection is going to be $5,275. And yet you're with only the preliminary budget is only 3,750 for next year. I just wondered how that developed.
That's a good catch.
That's a great catch.
Let's see here. For the reimbursement of, oops, my pages are disappearing.
Because that's the cafe. 102 is Penn Cove Outfitters, and 103 is Harbor Gifts, I believe.
And 103 is another question that I have.
Yeah.
It says you got $267 in income.
Oh, darn it, I need to redo the formulas every time we play with this. Okay. It looks like the formula didn't carry over the end of year, well, wait a minute. I think that what we were projecting is less because of the plain simple fact that there was going to be construction.
Oh, the Pile and Cap project.
Hmm.
Well, that doesn't explain 103. W103.
I think 103 is probably a formula error.
Yeah.
We know we're going to have to close the wharf possibly for the Pile and Cap project. We just don't know how long
Mhm.
and when, obviously,
Yeah.
but we did plan on some closure this next year. I don't know about the wharf roof, if that is going to require closure or not. We haven't gotten that far in the process. So, but I don't remember us, Don, I don't remember us honestly going through that and putting 3750.
No, that's just matching last year's.
Yeah, something's didn't carry over there.
I think that one we need to relook at, and we don't have to project. So normally what I would do, John, is I would take the end of year projection and then I would times it by 10% for increases in water utilities or any type of utility.
Well, what might be wrong is the 5275 number. That seems a big jump from 3324 existing to the end of the year.
Yes, especially since it's a smaller. What I did actually is so when I take the percentages of the last 3 months of the year, because we're just projecting, as I take the previous years, I look at the last 3 months and then I average it. So I take the last 3 months of the utility bills that were paid by the Cove, and I times it by 10%. So this is probably more than I ended up with $1,950. And this is probably more than what will happen. Also due to the fact that the town is reading their utilities differently. Our utility bills have been a lot less. Their meter readings. And I actually have requested a meeting because I don't understand why they're different.
Well, that includes electricity though, correct?
Yes, it does. But the electricity, yes, last year was hard to project anything. So I tried to focus on last year, the year before's, because in 2022, there was a lot of closure.
Right.
Due to the pipe.
2020 was a lot of closure, right?
No, this year there was a lot of closure due to the repairs.
Oh, that type of closure. Okay, I bet you meant COVID.
Yeah.
Um,
And then we had an extremely warm from, like June, May through current, actually until just recently. So the electricity bill has hardly been anything.
So let me just clarify. So wharf utilities, is that an aggregate of water, electric, and sewer?
Yes. The water bill has not been as normal at all year long.
No, we didn't have water for a long time,
Well,
so,
that and they changed the way they read it. So
Yeah.
it's something that I have to,
How can they change the way they read it?
I don't know, but I've looked at every single bill and I've done an analysis and it doesn't make any sense to me. So I have requested a meeting with the utilities billing clerk.
so when we look at this, so I noticed that 24 Front Street, you know, we're looking at possibly 760 by the end of the year. We're increasing it to 1,200.
I just used the previous years
Yeah,
because
we're-
there was no way to project. We had too much closure. We have had no rain and good weather for the last 6 months. Between the closures and that and the way the town is doing their readings, I really didn't feel comfortable doing anything other than using the same numbers as the year before. Now that I think about everything.
okay.
So to answer Commissioner Callahan's, catch of the difference, the variance in these numbers is basically because of all the weird things happening with, not having water, not having this, the city reading the meters weird. Where basically all 5 of those numbers represent 2022 numbers just carried over directly to 2023
Yeah, because I went to go
as
look.
opposed to actual.
Yeah, I'm in my spreadsheet, my original one, and that's my notes, is that we went with 2022's numbers due to all the variances that happened this year and the possible variances that are going to happen next year as well.
Well, I think it's okay, but I do think it's a good catch, Commissioner Callahan. Thank you.
Yeah, good eyes. And if you look at the budget as a whole, that number of total income Coupeville Wharf, I'm sorry, if you go up to total wharf utilities, that's the only thing that's gonna possibly show up on a short form. And the difference between 22 and 23 is an increase of $484. So what this part of the budget is actually saying is that it's been a really weird year. We think we're gonna collect another $484 next year, is really what it's saying.
Yeah.
So
is.
it's relatively flat with a slight increase is what the prediction is.
Okay,
I think we're all going to be interested to see what your the response is about these the town reading the meters. What does that really mean?
It is. The reason why I say that is because the meter readings for water have not changed hardly at all. I mean, but the meter readings for storm have. And in actual, they should be reading the same thing. The numbers should be the same. So, because they're not separate meters.
That's weird.
Yeah, so.
Interesting, huh? Okay.
And at first I thought, well, they're just giving us a break by not reading the meters because of all the repairs and everything that was going on. But then when it continued and I made inquiries, I was like, are you sure this bill is correct? How has this worked? And finally I just said, okay, we need to sit down and I have copies of all the bills and I need to make sure that it's, part of me didn't want to do it because I don't want them back billing anybody. But part of me doesn't understand why it would be so high all these years previously, and then all of a sudden there's hardly any readings going on when we know that it's been in use over the summer.
when is your meeting, Don?
I have an inquiry for one. They probably, when they're done with their
Well,
budget.
can we just put a footnote someplace to have a report on that, maybe in February or January?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I would definitely let you know what the results are.
Is Kelly Beach the person that's kind of heads up that whole process for billing?
Yeah, I believe there's a new person, and I don't know how long he's been new, so it's not because of him, I'm sure, but there's a new person, a young man that does the actual billing now, the water billing.
Okay. So any other,
Yeah,
Any
one,
other
Concern?
questions, John Callahan?
yeah, one more, please. And by the way, thank you for the explanation.
Oh, you're,
On page,
go back to my notes.
on page 10, under the credit line expenses, that's construction, repair, and maintenance. The largest item there says dedicated project. What is that project?
Under CR&M, is that what we're?
Yeah, CR&M.
Yeah, so what that is, Commissioner Callahan, that is our bucket. So this is how we balance the budget. Is we look at revenues versus expenses. And we go through this entire budget line by line. This is the area, and correct me if I'm wrong, Don, where under each of the properties, we will allocate expenses to balance.
Yes,
So it's not one dedicated project. It's just a CR&M bucket, a construction, repair, and maintenance bucket.
correct.
Yeah,
So
the
I
ward.
do have dedicated projects listed out under the IDD.
yes.
But if there's any other funds left over due to this right now because of the IDD that comes in, I just kind of balance it out between the three different areas, the wharf, the port, and the farm, under dedicated projects, just for anything that comes up. It's
Yeah, we
It's a-
can't,
It's a placeholder for a bunch of money.
that's exactly what it is.
The reason I question that is I tried to put myself in the shoes of the taxpayer who's reviewing this, and when I see that large number in that area, I wondered, in my mind, it was like for a project. Would you if you added the word miscellaneous for projects, would that clear things up a little for somebody
Maybe
who knows what's going on?
Maybe if you just add an S to the word project.
Yeah, and I was actually going to, suggest at some point and not during this budget because it should be done beforehand, but after thinking about it and with the IDD, and this is all new to us, I was wondering if we should have maybe a better line item for like IDD reserve funds or something.
I'd like to suggest that maybe it gets relabeled dedicated capital improvement projects that, the IDD is tied to.
Okay,
Well, but capital improvement is different than construction, repair, and maintenance. I mean, I think that's creative. But this is the money we use to fix pipes that break, all the stuff that happens almost on a daily basis. So it's
actually, that's
maintenance,
true.
where capital improvement is different. That is, we're taking this and we're making it better. And we're
Yeah.
improving it instead of maintaining it.
and it makes sense.
$720,000 of broken pipes. is a
No,
lot of
it's
pipe
just
breakage.
it's just a placeholder, is all it is.
Yeah,
Yeah. We're not
That-
saying we're spending 720,503 on CRM. It's a placeholder for that money.
and right now we've been really lucky with being able to utilize grants for a lot of our last minute things that have happened, or insurance refunds for a
Yeah.
lot of last minute things that have happened, but that's not always going to be an option either. So I suppose that, having a slush fund under the maintenance is probably important.
Yeah. We have a grant for 320,000 that expires in June. I've already extended it a biennium. They are not going to allow me to extend it. That money, is going to go bye-bye if we don't get the pile and cap project going by then. So this money here would help to fill that gap. If you guys want an example.
Again, it's just a perception of this large number being attributed to one item.
Yeah,
I heard the suggestion projects, or other dedicated projects indicating more than one. To me, that would be a little clearer.
agreed.
I like other dedicated. That means it's definitely means that there's more than one. So I
Yeah.
can,
Well, let's just put an S at the end of the word project.
Yep, we'll do that as well. So just keep in mind also, Commissioner Callahan, this is what's called a budget long form. And this is what we work through and work through and work through. And then when the final budget, and then I also use this in my planning throughout next year for references. When we go to file this with the county, this will all be wrapped up into one single page. So none of this detail will actually be reported when we turn in our budget. Just so you know, it's just an educational point.
But it also is reflected monthly in Don's financial reports because there's a report every month relative to budget. So
Budget to actual, yeah.
yes.
Yeah, no doubt. I like budgets. I've been
Yeah,
operating
so
on, I use them as planning tools.
It's not an irrelevant number. But I think again, Commissioner Callahan brings up a good question because if you're just looking at that as a taxpayer, that's a very good question. What is that dedicated project?
Yeah,
no, it makes sense. That's good. I put down other dedicated projects, and that way, if
Perfect.
any citizen were to look at the budget, then they would realize that it has allocated money for multiple reasonings.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Just a matter of clarification, Chris, you mentioned when this thing gets reduced down to go to the county, I guess you said there's gonna be down like one page.
yep.
But the budget that I'm looking at right now, the one you have up on the screen, is that the one that the public gets to comment on?
Yes, yeah, we keep this as drilled down and detailed as possible for the community, for the public.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, you bet. And we'll be posting, when the short form gets accepted, we'll actually post that on the website. And then if anybody wants to come in and drill down, then we have this document to show.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Good catch.
So,
Any other?
Chris, yes, for clarification, I'm looking at the attachment that was called CRM Schedule List 2023 Port of Coupeville projects. Now, that was the actual list of projects that was developed for the IDD, right?
Oh, you're off the budget now. You're on the capital finance, John?
Oh, I'll swing back to the budget, but for clarification, that's listed as CRM schedule list.
Yeah,
Right.
it's only on the form that Don had. When it goes into the IDD, it'll be called a capital finance plan.
Capital finance plan.
Yes.
So really, what we might be quibbling a little bit about here is we got a line item that says CR and M and not the capital list. And yet the CR and M dedicated projects are those type of capital improvements.
So can you guys see my screen that I changed over to the capital finance plan? Is this what you're talking about, John?
Yeah. So what's the difference between capital finance plan and a CR&M list?
Because CR&M is basically routine maintenance. It's repair and maintenance, where a capital finance plan is what the IDD is solely based on. It is capital improvements. So when this chart that you're seeing now gets approved, it will go into the IDD as our capital finance plan. And I should have changed.
So that bottom line should be changed to total capital finance expenditures.
That's correct. That is correct.
And then the file name to send
The
it
file
out
name,
to
right?
should not say CR&M.
No, Don and I, yes, that is correct. Like I said, when it goes into the IDD, it'll be called a capital finance plan. In fact, let me go and pull that up right now, so you guys can see what it looks like and where it'll go. For Don and I's planning for the budget, we call it a CR&M. See, this needs to be changed. So this will be capital finance plan. But I still need to change this down here.
Okay,
Yeah. So this is what's being replaced in the
That's not,
comprehensive scheme.
that's not to say that capital projects will arise due to emergency.
Yeah, this is just a plan.
Yeah.
It's just a plan. And it doesn't mean that all of these are being done next year. This is just showing the community the projects that are in front of us and that we are planning for. That's why there's no date on the top of this. And that's why we were counseled not to put estimated completion dates. If you remember that big chart I put out in the beginning of this whole process.
Okay.
So good questions.
so John, as you can see, budgeting at ports and all like that can be as clear as mud, right? To me, that all look like, construction, repair and maintenance projects, but we're calling them capital improvement projects. So tisket, a tasket, whatever. Yeah, I mean, door and frames, repair and maintenance, but it's called capital project. So,
Well, if we had, like, for example, if a pipe breaks, it's CR&M. If we go and replace the windows and doors at the wharf, that's a capital improvement. So we have to be very careful on how Don and I code our repairs. We have to determine, is this just maintenance and repair, or is this a capital improvement? And the same thing with labor. If Mary is focusing on a particular project that's a capital improvement, then we can use the IDD to support that labor. But if she's trying to shop for a plumber, or let's say just a specialist for the wellhead, that is not an IDD expense.
So Commissioner Callahan, do you understand the difference between what money comes out of the IDD and what money comes out of the general fund?
Not in the detail that I should.
Well, so Chris just basically simplified it in that capital projects, in other words, things listed on that last list,
Got it.
those are projects that we can use IDD funds on. We cannot use IDD funds for general maintenance or for operations. They have to, that money is set aside specifically for bettering our properties. Not maintenance, it's for improving our properties on an overall basis. Does that make sense?
Right. Yes, it does.
I'm glad that it makes sense to two of you. To me, we're threading the needle.
Well, that's what we have to do.
Yes, that is correct.
Oh, any other on 6.1 discussion of our preliminary draft budget? Are there any other ways we can slice and dice it? Are we going to take it as written after all the explanations we've heard?
Did anybody see anything else? This is all good.
I didn't see anything else. I appreciate you correcting or adjusting the information that was brought up at the last two meetings. So.
Yep.
You're very welcome.
So I'm ready to move on.
Okay.
Hey,
John,
Mary.
Callahan, you okay?
I'm fine.
Good. Okay, item 6.2 discussion. Comprehensive scheme of harbor improvements draft review. So Chris, we've had the opportunity to modify it to have the IDD capital improvement information added to it, right?
Yep, I will make that change at the bottom of the form, absolutely.
Okay.
Are there any other changes that have been made to the comprehensive scheme?
No, we do not make any changes to that, only during this process. So
Right.
you guys had a few.
I mean tentative changes.
No, only to the capital finance plan, the last page. There's been no suggested verbiage from the board on whether we want to add a sentence or take out a sentence. I mean, I think our comprehensive scheme
So
is.
can you go to the first couple pages of the comp scheme and let me ask a couple questions, please?
Sure, absolutely. Hold on one sec. Okay, where would you like to go?
Right, stop right there, first of all.
Mhm.
So am I correct that what we're doing is updating our comprehensive scheme, or are we not?
We are.
Okay, so this is a very small thing, but
Yeah, right.
Mohammed's not there currently.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. So I can change that.
And if you go through there were a couple other pages that were not kind of grayed out. Were those relevant to anything?
Let me go through those really quick. It's just the shading on the PDF.
Okay.
Nothing's been great, but let me go
Okay.
through there. Let me just make a note real quick if you don't mind. Because actually, when this gets approved, Commissioner Callahan will be on the board, so his name needs to go on here.
Right.
Well, this is like an acknowledgement page from back when this was created, right? That's what it says, acknowledgement.
On that one, yes, on that section there, but there's current. Like this was the acknowledgement then, right? When we went through it. And so I wanted to keep their names on it, just like we have everyone down here, right?
Right. So it's an update is what it is.
So it's an update. So it's okay to go ahead and just take out just this one right here.
Wouldn't you just put former?
I'm sorry?
Would you put former, just like you did on William Bell?
I would just put former, yeah. Yeah.
Well, wouldn't you just replace Commissioner Callahan there?
I think that's what I'm going to do. The reason I don't want to put Mohammed as former, though I appreciate the idea, Don, is he had nothing to do with the comprehensive scheme when we did it.
Okay.
Right.
So,
Question, shouldn't John M's moniker have current after that as well?
he could. Yeah. I mean,
I mean, I know we're getting very picky here, but it's either an update or it's not, I guess, is my point.
yeah. Well, we have the ability to update it, so let's do it. Okay, so we'll make John current next to his, take out Mohammed. We're going to put in John Callahan. Okay. Do you guys see anything else? Actually, all this stays the same underneath here.
So other than the end page, the capital finance plan, there's no other changes proposed, correct?
Nope. I'm not
Didn't-
proposing any changes, and you guys haven't proposed any changes except for just now.
Hey, David, didn't we add language, tweak the language about telecommunications?
That's
Well,
in there.
we did that last year.
It's in there.
Yeah.
So it's been updated then.
Well, this was updated last year. The first,
There's the
for the first time,
IDD.
and we had to update it to bring on the IDD. And that is when Jim Darling said, you should update this every year. And then, of course, it was confirmed in the small ports conference that ports should be updating their comp scheme every year, even if it's just to update the capital finance plan. So I had suggested a couple meetings ago that if you guys wanted to add something about an airport, you know, that would be an idea,
Well, isn't that part of, isn't
but that could be part of
what we
transportation.
talk about transportation in our comprehensive plan?
Yeah. Yeah, so here is the one about we added back in 2021. Actually, 2020, John, wasn't it? Or 21.
What are we talking about? The airport or what?
Yeah, just
When did
The
it- when did-
telecommunications part was added at the end of 2020, I believe.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, because we had the curb study going on at that
Right.
point, and we were applying for the 100,000 for the next thing. Hold on. So here's all Coupeville Wharf. It wouldn't be transportation in there. Strategies, Coupeville Wharf. Okay. Here's one for marine transportation. And I am not sure we have anything for just transportation.
does that take a resolution to change our comp scheme?
Yes.
Yeah, I've already got that written. Well, if you guys think you're going to be buying the port's going to be buying an airport next year, then we should probably.
The port is not going to be buying an airport.
Okay. Hold on. Let's just go through here really quick.
You have little faith, David.
What?
You have little faith.
Well, we're not going to be buying one. I'm not saying we're not going to own one, but we're not going to buy one.
Approve the visitor.
Potato.
Yeah, I don't see anything in here, gentlemen, about hold on, that's the Green Bank Farm. There wasn't anything in here that talked about an airport or transportation investment.
Is there any? Go back to page, go up 2 pages. There. So port-wide operations, go to page 6, please. So
You got
item D. Item D says improve the port district's infrastructure to support economic development, opportunities and investment.
Yeah, it could fall underneath that.
That's what I think.
Yeah, and this is why the company we used said, please keep this general and at high level. So you can capture
Yep.
different things. But since we were really going down the road hard with broadband, we added that paragraph. But I think D would cover something like that.
I think you're right, and I would agree with that.
Yeah. We don't want to be in the weeds in our comprehensive scheme, and that has been validated through not only the company who did it, but also at the conferences.
Can you go up to, can I read all of number 12 also, please?
12.
Go up one page. No, the other way. Strategies. I guess, I don't know if that's 12 or what that is. I think, is that 1.4 or 14 also works in that area? as does 16.
Maybe.
What is 1.2 saying?
I
Position
don't
of
know.
court through
With,
formal, is that a
Right
typo?
there, yeah, that's, this Word document is sometimes
It
when
was
you
hard
put
to
it,
work with, right?
well, when you put it into a PDF, sometimes it spaces it together too tight. But I think that says private. To formal partnerships with private entities to maximize its ability to pursue, I think.
Okay, I think we have broadly covered the airport, unless somebody wants to change it.
Well, balanced land conservation, historic preservation priorities with economic development opportunities and priorities. Again, pretty big.
By using it, the language as it exists now, to justify involvement in an airport, you're also justifying involvement in pretty much any other kinds of transportation.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you want to keep a comprehensive scheme very high level.
Yeah.
So you can capture all of that. And then, of course, if we actually go down this road and we do something that maybe doesn't fit in a category, we will have to update our comprehensive scheme to be able to execute it.
Fair enough.
I mean, that could even involve railroad and shipping. But if we were actually to get into something such as railroad or shipping, maritime commerce, then I imagine we would, like we did here in broadband, would then update the comprehensive scheme at the next available budget process to dive a little bit deeper. Like, to me, this is a lot. This is very detail oriented.
So item 6.2, have we all had the opportunity to sort of look over the comp scheme and understand how it's currently sitting?
Yep, I'll make the changes up top here, just administrative. And we'll clean up and add the updated capital finance plan, and that'll be it.
Is there any place where it says on the on this document that it was established in 20 whatever and updated last year and updated this year?
There's kind of my letter here, that I, was adopted in January 2018. So I give a little bit of history. And actually, this was my second letter. I wrote a letter when this thing first took place, back in January of 2018. And then Jim helped me write this one about.
It says updated 2021. So now you need to write another letter. Or do you?
I'm sorry, what was that?
So do you need to modify this letter?
Yeah,
Because of
so
the-
right, no, well,
I think you just plug in 2022.
I'll read it again. But Jim also told me keep this high end as well. I think right here at that end, the Port Commission has proposed the creation of a district-wide industrial development district. I will just update these sentences is what I'll do.
Can you
How
go
come-
back to the cover page, please?
And
So
then this will be
so if-
updated.
So that's the update right there, November 10th, 2021.
Well, you're looking at last year's comp plan when we actually approved it.
Right.
So this year will be November 9th, 2022.
Okay.
we
So
haven't approved
you'll
it.
make that substitution as well.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
I'm just showing you our current comprehensive scheme.
right.
I am not going to make any changes to this document until you guys have gone through it and told me what to do.
Okay, well, my only suggestion would be that instead of dating it like that would be created, whatever year it was created, updated November 10th, 2021, updated November 9th, 2022 or something. So that there's a track record. That's just a suggestion, but
Okay,
Honestly, dating your letter.
yeah,
so that
I'm
when-
gonna
when
I'm gonna
you-
probably
when
do
you get
that in my
down-
letter, like I've
Yeah,
done.
I'm not seeing a date there. There's dates in the body, but it'd be nice to have the message be dated, almost like a revision, kind of,
I think that's
Quick-
also a
quick
good idea.
look.
So where would you like to see that, John?
somewhere in the letter that it has a
In the
date of
letter?
the letter.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Well, I may just say something like, the port is committed to updating the comprehensive scheme on an annual basis, instead of listing a bunch of dates. Because that's gonna continue, right, throughout the years, and we're just gonna have rows of dates.
yeah, but I think that's okay. I think it shows that we're doing due diligence on a regular basis.
it's a living document.
And that we started from X and now we have X plus 1 and X plus 2 and X plus whatever.
Right. Just so you know, Commissioner Callahan,
Yes,
the port had a comp scheme done by a prior executive director, Jim Patton, retired Navy captain, who was a ED for a long, long time, right, David?
Yes.
And he
long
kind
time.
of knocked off, he kind of admitted that he knocked off somebody else's comp scheme and just kind of, morphed it to look to be used for the Port of Coupeville. But our kind of first almost official, where you pay an outside consultant to sit down with people in the community and the community leaders and get their input, was the one that was done, the one that you're looking at, that had all those participants early in that document, where we had a wide
had-
variety.
We had a citizens advisory council, we had tons of meetings and all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah, so this was a more official comp scheme than had ever been done before in the 50+ year history of the Port of Coupeville.
Yeah.
And-
does this document ever use any footnotes?
Footnotes?
Not-
Yeah, I
I'm
mean-
aware.
When you were just talking about the history of the dates that this thing has been revised, the thing that went through my mind is that would be a great footnote.
Well, that's what I'm gonna actually put in the letter, when I rewrite the letter, is this was adopted in January 2018, it was updated in 2020, 21, and 22. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I mean, what I've heard in the conversation is we'd like to have some kind of a history as to when this was updated, so that somebody would be able to just look at the current document and see that they updated it on an annual basis on these particular dates. And I was just, in my mind, I was just thinking, gee, where would you put something like that?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick it in the letter. And then David's also suggesting that we have all the dates that it was adopted and updated on the cover page.
Well, that brings up another question. Do we have a copy of the original 2018 document that has not been updated anywhere?
Of course, yeah, we don't ever save over past documents.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Yeah, every version is actually saved in a separate
Okay,
file
good.
name, yeah. Okay, well, I will make all those changes and I will actually send this out so you guys will have, I'll try to get this done tomorrow. And then you guys will have the rest of the week up until next Wednesday to provide any feedback, but nothing major is gonna get changed.
And then we'll actually approve it at our next regular port meeting.
Which is next Wednesday. It's a week from tomorrow. That's when the budget, the IDD, all the resolutions, the comprehensive scheme, all that gets approved next on the 9th.
Right, okay.
We should probably move forward so we can try to get some more public comment in if it's available.
So we're still in our hearing.
Right.
So are we ready to move on to 6.3, resolution number 293?
Yes.
Yeah, this is
Amending-
something you guys can see that okay?
Yes,
Okay. So again, you guys have had this for several weeks now.
I have no questions, comments, or accusations regarding this resolution.
Yeah, it's pretty basic. Just know that I will be plugging in Commissioner Callahan's name right here.
So again, this is just a discussion, not a motion to be made.
Correct.
Right.
Okay. So moving on to 6.4.
Commissioner Callahan, do you have any questions about this resolution?
no, I don't. Thank you.
So resolution number 294, collection of an industrial development district levy for 2023.
Yep, I'll update the name. Again, this is what you guys will be approving on the 9th, or not.
We
Well,
better.
For discussion purposes, is there anyone who is not in favor of, I know we're not voting on this, but for discussion purposes, is there anyone who is not in favor of maintaining the 45 cent per thousand assessment on the IDD? Or is there anybody that has any questions about whether that's appropriate?
The 45 cents per thousand, that's a requirement, isn't it not?
It is not.
It's
didn't-
the
Max-
max.
I didn't think we could go above 45.
We cannot,
Yeah.
but we can go anywhere from
Up
0
to
to
it.
45 cents per thousand.
Right, and did I hear the comments correctly at the last meeting that we not that we weren't making enough money, but that we didn't have a lot of money.
That's correct. We don't have a lot of money.
Yeah, so. So I guess my comment is I don't see any reason to go less than 45.
And I don't see any reason not to do this because we need the money.
Yeah,
Great. Then we shouldn't have a whole lot of discussion when we vote on the resolution.
I'm hoping the 9th is a very quick meeting. That means we've fleshed it out. Okay,
Okay. Next,
At some point, Chris, you probably need to give Commissioner Callahan some of the blood and guts behind that whole process of pulling that one out of the bag.
oh, I will.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're hoping to meet next week. I'm gonna bring him up to speed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so agenda wise. 6.5, resolution 296, 2023 budget levy approval. So we've let's see, 296.
So this is our 1% amount right here. And our, let's see, resolution level producer was,
This is the one that gets us our 1%.
yeah, which is listed right here.
well, my question is that's not 1%. 1% would be 4380 instead of 4242. And I'm just curious why it's not the full 1%.
This is a previous year's levy amount?
The 4380 is an estimation. It is not the exact amount.
Okay,
That is an increase. So it's the levy plus like $5,000 or $6,000. It's allows us to collect based on whatever increases might happen in the next few months.
So, but my question is 42,15 is less than 1% of $438,000.
My job when doing the property tax levy, and this is very confusing, is I take the amount that we were awarded last year on the worksheet, and I add the 1% and increase it by an estimation of 5,000 or 6,000 for fluctuation. That way, if for some reason we're able to collect, because we're not able to collect any more than that, 438 plus the,
That is correct. If we underreport and we get more money, we lose it.
yeah, we can't collect any more than what we asked for.
Right.
So
Right.
whether or not we are subject, allowed to collect it or not, if we don't state the dollar amount, then we don't get it.
That's right.
That's why
David.
the assessor's
So
office,
David, what I'm here is the 438,000 really has nothing to do with the $4,242.15.
Yeah.
Yep, that's correct.
the 4215 is just
They're
1%.
not tied to each other per se.
Nope, they're not.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, good explanation, Don. Okay. And
So
you guys, we'll print your names. You'll sign over here.
go to the bottom of this form, Chris.
Uh,
So
This is actually given to us by the county. I don't write this one. Neither does Don.
Yeah.
This
we
is the
have-
same template we've been filling out for probably 7, 8, 9 years.
So you're going to take a hard copy to each one of us? Is that what will happen?
No, what'll happen is we will digitize this. We'll try to digitize it, and then I'll type in your names, and you guys, you'll have me do it with the minutes. So we're gonna try that. And if it doesn't work, then I'll run out and get you guys, I'll get wet signatures.
So
Could I-
should it be 9th day of NOV instead of NOVE?
Well, we should spell out November. That's driving me crazy. Nov.
Okay. Are
Could
we
I,
ready to go?
Could I hear that explanation a little bit more about that 42? The number just disappeared there, but the that 1% is based on what actual figure? What is it that was times 1% that gave you the 42 something?
There's this property tax levy worksheet that I have to complete every year, and it's based on ratios and numbers provided by the assessor's office. And the ending number from last year was probably 42 or 400 or 416,000 some odd. And so basically I have to take that number and times it by 1% to get the 42.
Okay,
And then I have to add it and then estimate possibly $5,000 or $6,000 more just for fluctuation. And it took me a couple years to comprehend it. And even then I still question myself, because this year they actually added a line to the calculations. And I'm like, this wasn't here last year because I have cheat notes. But so it is, I can actually send the form to you guys so you can see the worksheet that I have to use if you want.
Well, it's,
I don't need it. I just wanted an explanation of, and you gave it to me. There is a process that you went through and a form you filled out. And at the end of that form, there's a number and you take 1% of it. Yeah, that's fine.
And I don't even put it in the budget until the assessor's office approves what I have calculated. And I don't necessarily have to do that, but I just do that for verification for myself. I get an email saying, yes, this looks good.
Excellent.
well, the other part, just for the sake of Mr. Callahan, is that the 1% isn't really 1% either, because the 1% has to fit into 1% countywide. And so, like, the port was actually set up originally to get like 14.8% tax levy. We don't get close to that anymore.
Right.
Wow.
Because we got to fit into the total county's tax rate.
Right.
And so if other entities, be it fire department, library, hospital, whatever, are all clamoring to get a
So we
piece of
only
that
get,
pie.
we only get our little part of the overall county 1%.
Yeah,
Wow.
So it's a very bizarre situation. It's good for the taxpayer, but it's not good for the port.
okay. Are we ready to go to agenda item 7, community input, second go around, Chris?
Yep, if you guys are.
Okay, so this is additional time set aside for members of the public to speak to the board. You know, please state your name and city of residence and limit comments to 5 minutes. So the only member of the public I'm seeing listed right now is Loretta. So it's up to her to signify to Chris whether or not she wants to go live. And not hearing anybody want to speak up on the second comment period, we can go to the 8th item and adjourn the meeting.
Could I interrupt for just 1 second? Just for the record, I would like to know when Commissioner Callahan was sworn in and by whom.
On Friday
Right.
by John. We went and got the certificate of oath from the county, and Narissa got it all filled out. And we set up John and John to meet here at the office to do the signatures and to get sworn in.
Cool, thanks. I just didn't understand that. So
Oh, sorry about that.
I'm glad that Mr. Callahan was here this evening and that he is now part of this elite group of individuals helping to.
I don't know about elite, but.
And ponder all these numbers.
Well, there's
So,
only
Chris-
3 of us, so it's a very
Okay.
small portion of the population.
So Chris, we probably want to have on the next agenda of the meeting that we need to have a secretary appointed. You know, I'm the presiding officer, you know, David's the vice president, and we need a secretary commissioner. So we probably need to officially have one of us make a motion to have him be the secretary.
Okay, that wouldn't be by default because 2 positions are already assigned.
Nothing's by default, is there?
Okay,
David, don't you think we better
I think that's
make it
probably a
official?
good idea, just for the
it doesn't
record.
hurt.
You know, get out the ceremonial sword and kind of tap him on
Yeah.
each shoulder. So, okay, having had that much fun, we're going to adjourn this meeting. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
You did
everybody.
good.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Time to leave.
See you next Wednesday.
Yes, I'll get you out an agenda the next 2 days.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
Okay,
Thank
bye,
you.
everybody.